Thank you so much for joining me this afternoon or this evening, this morning, wherever you are in the world. I just want to thank you and welcome you to this special presentation to protect the integrity of the information that's provided and to honor all participants. There will not be any unauthorized copying of the screens, slides, pictures, videos, testimonies, or audio representation of this presentation without prior permission of all present. I thank you for your understanding and yielding to this compliance. Why Assure for Life? Since 2007, we came to the United States as Protection PLENITUD, Inc. And then our funeral assistance membership brand, Assure for Life, was born. We are part of GRUPO PLENITUD, a company with over 70 years of experience providing comprehensive services, awareness, and quality standards. More than 2,500 organizations make up our portfolio of clients throughout the United States, Latin America, and the Caribbean. We provide more than 10,000 funeral services every year within our coverage area, keeping our promise of high quality services. Assure for Life by Protection PLENITUD is the best funeral assistance plan in the United States. It is not insurance. Therefore, it does not deliver money, but rather provides services. By purchasing this valuable plan, members will receive important benefits. 1, accompaniment, protection, peace of mind, and consolation to their families in the most challenging moments. 2, assistance and coordination through an emergency line that works 24/7. 3, basic funeral services. And 4, transport of the deceased within the United States, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico, and expatriation to the country of origin in the coverage area. Did you know 90% of Americans do not have $2,000 in savings, nor can they access it within 2 weeks to start the process to pay for a basic funeral service? Did you also know 80% of Americans do not have enough or the right type of insurance to pay for final expenses, which generally average $10,000 nationwide? Critical statistics. So we're asking everyone, and you think about this, who is responsible? Is it your church, where you've paid your tithes and your offerings for years and years? Is it the funeral home that has maybe buried your grandparents or your parents or loved ones? Is it your family? Okay, and when you think of the family, generally it's the matriarch of the family that makes sure that everyone is responsibly covered. Or is it the government? And I even had someone to ask me this. They said, well, no, I thought that the government would pay for the funeral. They always say that when they're advertising, they always say that the government will give you $255. Well, guess what? A funeral costs much more than that. And if the government does pay that $255, it's because you have paid enough in taxes for them to at least do that. So we're saying no more to a lot of things. We're saying no more fish or chicken dinner fundraisers. We're saying no more to funeral donation campaigns. When you see those GoFundMes, okay, they're asking for donations because they don't have the funds themselves. And we're saying no more to estate sales. When you think of your mom, your grandma, your auntie that has left things that were valuable to her, okay, in a garage sale now, all of a sudden they're showing up because they have to liquidate the funds to be able to pay for a funeral. We're saying no more of any of that. GRUPO Plenitude has headquarters. If you see here, Colombia since 1950, Venezuela since 1994, Costa Rica since 2001, Mexico since 2006, and right here in the United States since 2007, and added Panama since 2009. We have an accredited Business Bureau rating of A+. We are a member of the Latin American Cemetery Association and a member of the Romanzo Funeral Home Network. Listen to what our coverage area is. In the United States, all 50 states, Washington, D.C., and only the unincorporated territory of Puerto Rico. In Latin America, we are in Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Ecuador, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Paraguay, Peru, Uruguay, and Venezuela. And in the Caribbean, we are located, have a coverage area of Haiti, Jamaica, and the Dominican Republic. Now, we offer 3 options, but we only deliver one at the time of requesting the service. Why? Because you never know where you will be when that time occurs. So let's talk about the options that are offered. Option number 1 is the national option. It's the service that's provided in the United States and Puerto Rico. If you will see, everywhere there is a circle with a check, the green circles, those are the services that are provided. The red X do not apply to that particular option. So in the option number 1, we have transport of the deceased, basic funeral services, cremation and an urn, or a standard casket and hearse to the cemetery. Then, of course, there is an airline ticket, a round-trip airline ticket exclusively for the plan holder. Option number 2 is our return option. It's expatriation to Latin America and the Caribbean, but only to those areas that are in the coverage area. Those countries, I'm sorry, that are in the coverage areas. As you will see, you're already in your country, so there is no transport of the deceased. But we do have the transport of the body to the country of origin, basic funeral services, the cremation and urn or standard casket and hearse to the cemetery. The cemetery expenses are included in this return option. So that's the lot, the purchase or rental of the lot, which is done in those countries, the adaptation, which is the opening and closing of the gravesite, the inhumation, and that's according to the modes, uses, and customs of the country. And of course, there is an airline ticket, round trip exclusively for the plan holder. And then there's option number 3. It's considered the roots option. Service in Latin America and the Caribbean, but of course, only to those countries that are in the coverage area. You're in the coverage area, so there's no transport of the deceased, and there's no transport of the body to the country of origin. You're already there. But then all of the other services are provided. Basic funeral services, cremation and urn, standard casket and hearse to the cemetery, that's either or. Cemetery expenses, that's the lot, the purchase, or the rental, the adaptation, the opening and closing, and the inhumation according to the modes, uses, and customs of that particular country. But for all 3, you'll note that there is an airline ticket, a round trip exclusively for the plan holder. Our basic funeral expenses are offered in the national option. And this is very important for you to know because these are some very rich benefits. Transfer of the deceased to the local funeral provider. Preparation of the body. The basic viewing time, which averages anywhere from 2 to 4 hours, depending on where it takes place. The casket for the viewing. The funeral director fees, And remember, he has to pay all of his staff. The funeral guest book and the prayer cards. One death certificate. In the cremation option, the cremation and the urn is provided, and that trip to the crematory. In the burial option, the basic casket for the viewing and for the hearse to the cemetery and for the burial. However, note that cemetery expenses are not covered by Assure for Life in any of the 50 states of the United States, Washington, D.C., and Puerto Rico. You may be wondering why. It's because it is a separate transaction. It's considered real estate here in the United States. Now, we do want you to keep in mind a few things. The round trip airline ticket is exclusively for the plan holder in order to attend the funeral of his or her loved one. It cannot be transferred. It cannot be used for another occasion. It must be used to attend the funeral of his or her loved one. The family plan. Members age 65 or younger can be included, regardless of kinship to the plan holder. Now, in case of the parent or partner of the plan holder, up to 80 years of age, that person can be added at any time during the enrollment. The coverage will not expire as long as the membership is paid. A maximum of 2 people in that category can be added. The membership will be canceled for non-payment after 3 consecutive months of non-payment. To request the service, the plan's payment must not have any delay. Keep in mind, starting on the 3rd business day after enrollment, after the first payment has been made, Assure for Life covers accidental, violent death, or suicidal death. I did say suicidal death. Assure for Life covers death by natural causes as well. 180 calendar days, that's 6 months after making the first payment. Also keep in mind, at the time of enrollment, the plan holder or any of its members must not be terminally ill, have a cancer diagnosis, be on dialysis, or have a brain tumor. The family plan protects up to 7 people. Now, there are standard rate states, there are special rate states. In the standard rate states, that's all 45 states of the United States and Washington, D.C., an annual family plan is $900. That covers all of the 7 members. There is a $30 one-time enrollment fee. In our special rate states, and they include Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, New York, California, and Puerto Rico, the annual family plan is $720, but also includes a $30 one-time enrollment fee. Now, very important, if the majority of members or anyone that's over 65 years of age or the plan holder lives in a standard rate state, the annual fee will be $900. So that's even though, let's say, 5 of the people live in one of those special rate states, but the plan holder, or maybe the plan holder's parent, lives in one of the standard rate states, the cost will be $900. 7 people for $900 or $720. That is amazing. Now, we do have a silver plan because on instances, there are people who do not have any children or a partner. So if they are between the ages of 66 and 75 years old, they are eligible for the silver plan. The silver plan for 1 is $600 annually in the regular rate states, and silver plan for 2, $900 annually An additional member from age 0 to 75 years old, regardless of kinship, can be added to that silver plan for 2. And when we say 0, we're talking about a child, a baby, infant that is still in the mother's womb. In our special rate states, the special rate applies in, again, Florida, North Carolina, South Carolina, New York, California, and Puerto Rico. A silver plan for 1 is $540 annually. A silver plan for 2, $720 annually. Now remember that a $30 one-time enrollment fee is charged to all members. So you might be saying, well, who is this plan for? It's for everyone. It is for individuals like you and me. It is for church and community leaders, pastors, apostles, evangelists, singers. It's for everyone in the church that is a part of the community. It is for life insurance agents, pre-need agents. I am also a life insurance agent, but I saw the need for something like this to fill in the gaps. And when I say fill in the gaps, there are so many life insurance policies and carriers that cannot cover everyone. So we are filling in the gaps and covering a lot of the needs for people that think they can't be covered. It's for veterans, because once you leave the military, you're like you and me. You're still needing coverage. You're still needing to be protected. You still have a family that needs to be protected. Then think of the remote in-home business owners. A lot of people have gone to in-home business since the pandemic started. And that's just a short period of time within the last 2 years. But there are a lot of small businesses and there are a lot of large businesses that could also use these services. It's for sales professionals. When I think of all of the people that are in sales, direct sales, over-the-counter sales, all kinds of sales professionals, this is for you as well. Then let's talk about funeral home directors. Funeral homes are bombarded sometimes with bodies because there's no one able to pay the expenses of the funeral services. I actually saw a funeral home director state that he had 30 bodies, 30, that were waiting to be funeralized and waiting for the funds to pay for the funeral services. Those that are rated or declined for traditional insurance is another category of people that are in need of this plan. It's for employees with insurance on their job. Because guess what? Once you leave that job, then you are no longer covered by their insurance coverage. The insurance that you will be getting will be at your current age and in your current condition. And there are those that are released from incarceration. So let's say, for example, your brother or uncle or dad has been incarcerated and you know that he will be released within the next year or so. He can be covered, and of course the state is going to cover his funeral expenses if he dies in prison. But then once he is released, he will probably have met the 6-month waiting period and he will be fully covered. A lot of times you cannot get insurance once you've been in prison. So it's for all of these categories of people. Assure for Life has a customer service line because we're here for you. It is available 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday. On weekends, holidays, 24/7. It could be a weekday. 24/7. There is a funeral emergency line. That funeral emergency line can be called. The number is 888-888-8888. 888-815-5817. And just remember, there is a funeral emergency line that is available 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, regardless of whether it is a holiday or a weekend. Call that funeral emergency line, 888-815-5817, in the event of death. When that death occurs, you would want to call that number first. Assure for Life is here for you. There are a few frequently asked questions. One of them is, what is Assure for Life? And again, this was stated in the presentation, but Assure for Life is a professional funeral assistance services company. And since 2007, our membership has provided protection to families in the United States with comprehensive services, awareness, and quality standards. What are the benefits of the plan? There are so many, but the basic funeral expenses in the coverage area, the transfer of the deceased, the preparation of the deceased, the basic viewing time, the casket for the viewing, funeral director's expenses, the funeral guest book and prayer cards, a death certificate, a round-trip airline ticket, cremation options, cremation and urn for ashes, and a will is also provided. Now, who can replace a plan holder in a family plan when he or she passes away? When the plan holder passes away, he or she may be replaced immediately by any of the current members or by a new qualifying member. When a member passes away, how soon can they be replaced with someone else? When a member, a non-plan holder, passes away, an eligible replacement can be completed on the next anniversary date of the plan. The plan holder must communicate with the company to complete the new application. How much does the company pay for a funeral service is another question that's frequently asked. Assure for Life does not guarantee a specific amount because it is authorized to deliver service only through a reputable, independent funeral home near the client's area or as required. Now, how does this work? It is so simple. You will call our emergency line at the time of death. That is the first call that you make. Our team of experts will take care of the funeral arrangements. Then the funeral home will be paid. Our company pays the funeral home directly, pays all of the funeral expenses, and that is all so that you can focus on caring for your loved ones that have been left behind. So our members appreciate that we have no medical exams, no immigration status, no territorial limitations, no long waits for approval, no cancellation fees, no background checks, no long applications, no credit checks. So this way, we can probably do an enrollment and complete an application in 10 to 15 minutes. So that's just a few questions that are frequently asked. Again, I am so happy and pleased to be able to present this to you. Thank you for participating.